Hi, mathematicians. Here we go, lesson 6-4. Today we are working on estimating, and you guys are not always the best about estimating. You like to calculate it correctly. So, no fair, I want you to work on this skill today. Estimate the percent of a number using equivalent fractions, rounding, or compatible numbers, okay? So let's take a look at this idea here. Sarah wants to score 78% on her next test. She knows that the test will have 40 questions. So, how can Sarah represent the situation to help her determine how many questions she needs to answer correctly? And then how could you use this model to help solve the problem? So I want you to stop and I want you to write this in your workbook on page 367. And on Edpuzzle, you are going to answer question B. Okay, so we'll pause there. Okay, welcome back. So let's think about this as if we had 78%, we know that that's 78 over 100. What is 78 really close to that would be super easy for us to use? And I can hear you saying 80%. And then this model here, what could we do with that? Yep, so we could say, oh, she needs to be able to answer that many questions. So it looks like if we took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 away from 40, we would get 32. So she needs to get 32 questions correct for that. Okay? If on her last test, Sarah answered 82% of 60 questions, how could you answer that one? Let's pause and take a look at that. So 82% again is about 80 over 100. And we know we could even use our reduction, so 4/5. So 4/5 of 60, we know that we could multiply that and we would get 48 questions. All right, so we're rounding things. We're trying to find nice, neat numbers like 80 and 80 and using that to help us. You can use models to do it as well. I don't like to work with 80 over 100 out of 60, but 4/5, boy, that was pretty easy to calculate. So that's what we're going to try to use today in this lesson. So let's take a look at example number 1. We're going to use equivalent fractions to do some estimating on this one. This graph shows the eye colors among 500 students at school, about how many students have brown eyes. And mine's a paper copy, and if it looked good, this would be the brown color. So it looks like brown is it's 46%. And 46% is really nice and neat number to say about 50%. So 50% of 500 right there. I know many of you could just do that in your dreams with your eyes closed. So about 250 kids. But so let's take a look at the blue eyes is about 23. What do you think? I know you're already looking at it. 23 is really close to that 25%, which is 1/4. So if you know that 250 is a half, then we know half of that would be 125. So that, just talking that out loud, I think that you would be able to do that. So let's do a try it. Suppose the graph shows eye colors among 120 students. So not 500 students, but 120 students. About how many of those students would have green eyes? So green is the 16%. And explain, this is more how I want you. So tell me how many would have green eyes and then explain it. We're going to pause here on Edpuzzle to do that. So this is a neat one. 16% to really, and I'm going to do these little ways V-line because that means approximately. It's about 20%. So 20 out of 100 times 120 students. You know, we can drop those really easy. So 2/10 times 12, we could do 24. Nope. I'm going to reduce that even more. I'm going to make this 1/5. So 24, nope, 12 over 5 is going to give you about 24. Sorry. So about 24 students in that. All right, that was bad math there. Sorry. Sometimes that happens. Let's look at example number 2. This time you are going to be rounding and using compatible numbers to estimate. So use the results of the survey shown to the right about how many high school students plan to get a summer job. And so on this one, we have 53% of 94 students surveyed plan to get a summer job. So one way that we could do this is by rounding 53 of 94%. So 53 is about 50%, so about half of, and we can round the 94 to about 90. So about half of 90 would be 45. And this is an estimate, so I know many of you guys want to calculate it, but this is just good mental math, okay? Another way that you could do this is with those compatible numbers. So 100 is a compatible number for 94. It's close to it. And we know that 53 is about 50%. So we can think of half of 100 is 50. Also acceptable because it's in the ballpark. If you were to actually calculate this, do you think that it would be somewhere between 45 and 50? You let me know because I think you could do some work on that. So let's do the last try it. Students in another survey were asked about whether they plan to attend summer camp. 56 students took the survey and 44% said yes. So I want you to use those compatible numbers. You tell me if procedure number 1 or procedure number 2 you liked better, and tell me why you liked it.